Hey guys, so after making my top 10 video, I thought it would be cool to rank a franchise of movies that I like. And I was thinking about what it could be, and I've decided that I'm going to rank the Indiana Jones movies. There's 4 of them. I'm going to rank all 4 Indiana Jones movies from worst to best. Now, before I get into this video, I'm just going to say, like I will say with every ranking or whatever, this is my opinion. I'm not saying this is the definitive Indiana Jones ranking. I'm not saying this is the best. I'm just, it's my opinion, my Indiana Jones ranking, and I'd like to actually see yours. So if you want to comment that below, you can. So yeah, let's get started with ranking the Indiana Jones. Number 4. So Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Yeah, this is easily the worst Indiana Jones movie. I'm not even sure if I want to say disappointed, other than what happened? It's like they didn't know. It's like Steven Spielberg had no idea what he was directing. It's pretty bad. Honestly, really, I mean, it's mediocre at best. A lot of negatives. The action scenes aren't I don't feel as if I don't feel the energy that the other Indiana Jones movies had with the action scenes. The action scenes are kind of still really have a lot of action. I just don't feel the same energy as I do with the rest of the Indiana Jones movies. The story's not as interesting about this kingdom with crystal skulls. It's just, and then at the very end, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about, where the thing turns into a CGI alien and it looks horrific. So do the monkeys whenever Shia LaBeouf is swinging across the trees, and once again, you'll know what I'm talking about, and all the monkeys are coming. It just looks ridiculous. This movie does not take itself seriously. It's just what happened. However, on the positive side, Harrison Ford is still pretty good as Indiana Jones, and some of the action scenes, while I'm not a fan of most of them, are, good. And there are some elements that work here and there. But overall, this is easily the weakest Indiana Jones movie in the quadrilogy. Number 3. Temple of Doom. So, I feel that this is actually a very divisive Indiana Jones movie. There are fans that love it, there are fans that hate it, some people are right in the middle. I mean, I loved it. I just thought it was a great Indiana Jones movie that did what it needed to do with the franchise. There are a lot of negatives, however. A lot of the negatives being there are some scenes that are just too over the top, goofy, and ridiculous to be taken seriously, and some indie sidekicks, I don't know, the girl, I forgot her name, and the little kid, I think it's Short Round, his name is, can be annoying at times. However, those are pretty much the only negatives I have, as besides that, the story is still great. How they're finding this temple and the tribe and everything is cool. When the guy raises his hand and sucks the life force out of people, that's cool. And the action scenes are still good. Some of the scenes, where it's frightening, especially when he's in the cave with all the bugs, it's frightening, and that makes for good. In fact, fun fact, if you did not know this, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom was PG, and it's actually one of the movies that was PG, where parents took their kids to see it in the theaters, and they were horrified at how violent it was and how horrifying it was that they complained. And it's one of the movies that caused certain movies that used to be PG back in the day to become PG-13. So, I mean, that's just a fun fact I thought I'd share. And that's also the fact that it's more violent and horrifying and all that just makes for a really good time. Number 2. Okay, so I have a hard time deciding which one is second and which one's first between Raiders of the Lost Ark and Last Crusade, because I love Raiders of the Lost Ark so much. I believe it's probably the best adventure movie ever made, It's also one of very few movies I would call perfect. I think it's flawless. It does everything right that it needs to do. Um, and right about now is the time you start to expect me to give you negatives. I'm not going to. I just said I think this is one of very few movies that I feel is perfect. There's nothing wrong with it, and I just feel that it does everything right. And this is especially made with director Steven Spielberg, who, I mean, this movie is just so iconic the way he does it. The action scenes are fantastic. It's very fun. It's very entertaining. It's a very good story about the Lost Ark. The intro to this movie is one of the best intro scenes ever, where he goes to get the thing and then he's chased after by the boulder. That's one of the most iconic scenes in movie history. This movie has so many iconic scenes, great action, great adventure, and it's really entertaining throughout. I love it so much, and I have a hard time between this and The Last Crusade, which I'm about to talk about. Number 1. Okay, so Last Crusade. I watched all the Indiana Jones movies by myself, except for this one, which I actually watched with my family. It's my mom's favorite Indiana Jones movie, and after watching it, I could see why. It's very fun and entertaining. In terms of adventure, it's not, like I said, Raiders was the best adventure movie ever made. This one is not as adventure-y as Raiders is, if that makes any sense. It's also probably not perfect. However, it's just so fun and entertaining that I just don't want to fault it. Sean Connery's Indiana Jones's dad is funny and entertaining, and the action scenes are great. The ending is great. This also gives Indiana Jones a little more heart because we see him and his relationship with his dad, and so it gives him more heart. It gives the story more heart. And the scene where they're tied up in the chair and with the rope and they're getting to the fireplace is great. And it's just, you guys saw this in my top 10 favorite movies because it's legit in my top 10 favorite movies. I just love it. There's just so many great elements to it. And Raiders of the Lost Ark would be my 11th favorite because I have a hard time choosing between that and Last Crusade. I just love them both so much. I just love this one a little more. It's just, all the stuff works, all the elements work, and it's just such a fun watch. Thank you guys for watching this video. If there's any franchises you want me to rank or specific movies you want me to review, put that in the comments below. Maybe if there's a franchise that I've already ranked and you want to see it updated, because every so often maybe an opinion can be changed, also comment that because maybe my opinion will change. I'm trying to find more of these kind of videos to make. Or if you want to see top 10 maybe favorite of genres, like maybe sci-fi or whatever, just those kind of videos. If you want to see any of those that I mentioned, comment below. Hope you like this video. I love the Indiana Jones movie except for the fourth Indiana Jones. That's really the only one that I don't really like. But I only really watched it because I wanted to watch all the Indiana Jones. And they're actually making an Indiana Jones 5, which I hope is good. However, there's a lot of stuff that leads to it not looking great. Steven Spielberg has directed all the Indiana Jones movies. He's not directing this one. Also, George Lucas, the guy behind Star Wars, wrote all of the Indiana Jones movies. He was the writer. He's the one who came up with the idea for them. He's not returning for this one either. However, the fifth one does have a good director. The guy who's directing, his name is James Mangold. He has made some pretty good movies, and the writers actually look kind of promising, so just hope it's good. But yeah, so hope you enjoyed this video, and see you next time.